Tomorrow we mark the first anniversary of what has undoubtedly been the largest peaceful democratic protest the world has seen in some years, and a protest organized at the height of the pandemic. I cannot think of anywhere else in the world that a protest has been organized under the circumstances that the farmers at the Delhi's Darwaja have organized a protest. Okay. Last year, the ordinances were brought in June. The many farmers' organizations made trips to Delhi, delegations to the minister, and were simply dismissed without being even heard properly. Though they were simply saying, consult us, discuss with us before you make these laws. Remember, at the same time, they were also bringing the labor codes, a lot of other things as well. September, they brought the laws and banged them through Parliament in methods that were simply illegal, undemocratic. 3-4 things about it. Number one, there was no reference of the laws or the drafts to the Standing Committee of Agriculture. No call for, despite many calls from the opposition for referring the laws to an expert committee or a special committee to discuss the laws, which would have been the normal course of parliamentary procedure. This was dismissed. Third, even then they were so doubtful of their ability to pass it through the Rajya Sabha that they suspended 8 MPs for that period. They suspended 8 members of parliament, and even then they were not sure they would pass it, so they passed it by a voice vote. Now, please understand this, there is no provision in the Indian Constitution called voice vote in parliament. In the rules of the Rajya Sabha, you can look at Rajya Sabha rules 252, 253, 254. There is a thing for voice vote. It's taken on rather trivial issues. It's not taken on major legislation. And the voice vote, even the Rajya Sabha rules state that voice vote happens where it is clear that the vote has an overwhelming majority. It's like the one MP suggesting, let's extend lunch hour by 1 hour. That you can have a voice vote on. Not on reshaping the country's agriculture. But the rules of the Rajya Sabha voting say it is presumed that, it tells you, it makes you understand that you have an overwhelming majority where you talk about a voice vote, not on a sharply divided issue. Yeah. So they still suspended 8 people and then did this voice vote. And many of you, your channels, your newspapers have shown that little video clip of 2 or 3 of those members who were sitting quietly, making no noise, like Bibi Ragesh and others. They did nothing inside the parliament to get them thrown out, but they were thrown out. And this is how your laws were passed. State governments, it was also unconstitutional because agriculture is a state subject in the constitution. It is not in the union list, it is very specifically in the state list. It's not in the concurrent list, it's in the state list. There is a huge precedent at the time of the Constituent Assembly and the adoption of the Constitution of why your parliamentarians, why your framers of the Constitution chose to place agriculture in the state subject. There are very insightful and incisive comments in those debates saying that it's ridiculous that someone sitting in Delhi is going to decide on some problem on a state with 12 agroecological sectors. It was a very thought out decision by the constituent by the makers of the constitution to make agriculture a state subject. They violated that. They did not consult the state governments, from whom they would have required a 2/3 majority for doing something which comes on the state list. They did not consult their own cabinet, by the way, that's very clear. The agriculture minister gets to know, just like the finance minister got to know of demonetization from the media. They did not consult parliament. They did not consult the standing committee on agriculture. They threw out 8 MPs for that duration so that they could have a voice vote. Everything about the only people they consulted were the corporate world, whose lawyers drafted these laws, for God's sake. Just read them. The other thing that I think is very significant, what the farmers at Delhi's gates have done for us, what farmers all across the country have done for you. Please don't live under the illusion that the farm laws were only about farmers. That is a gigantic illusion. If you look at the 2 major laws, that is the APMC related act and the Contract Farmers Act. Clause 14 and 15 in the first one in the APMC, and I think 17 and 18 in the Contract Farmers Act, suspend, they take away your fundamental right, Article 32 in the Constitution, the right to legal remedy, the right to legal, the basis of democracy, of democratic functioning and governance, is that if I am aggrieved by something the state has done, if I am aggrieved by something that power has done, I can go to the courts for it. These 2 laws have explicit clauses, 14, 15, 17, 18, pad lijiye. These clauses explicitly bar the jurisdiction of all civil courts. You cannot go, for me the first good reaction did not come from the media. It came from the Bar Council of Delhi, which panicked. They wrote a letter to the President and Prime Minister saying, "Hamara danda to khatam kar diya aap log." They said district courts will collapse because most of the litigation in the courts, in the district courts, is around agriculture, it's around land, it's around farmers. And if you are creating a precedent where court jurisdiction is barred, what will happen to the courts? After they made that statement, I found that wherever in the country we spoke about it, a lot of lawyers attended the meetings. So, ye bhi tha. Another thing, it affects you as a citizen. Your right to legal remedy is not just taken away in these 2 laws. They have started putting those clauses in other laws, including the state of Karnataka's cow slaughter bill. You have no right to legal remedy. Your legal remedy is to appeal to an appellate tribunal consisting of SDM, who will sit if it's an Ambani-Adani case. Otherwise, your Tehsildar, Naib Tehsildar. This is the most important part of the laws. They convert an executive into judiciary. They are barring the jurisdiction of the courts and usurping the power of the judicial power of the courts and vesting it in the hands of SDM, deputy collector, that level. That is a phenomenal assault on your constitution. Right to legal remedy gone, transferring of judicial powers to a low-level executive. And that's why what the farmers have done for us, they've defended the Constitution of India. They have defended our right to legal remedies. They have pushed back the laws. Yeah, they have fought for every single citizen of this country. However, remember this, that what were the farmers demanding? Not just this agitation. In 2017, in 2018 with the Nashik March, with all these different 2018 November 29th March outside Parliament, where it was not farmers from Punjab and Haryana, but from 22 states and 4 union territories. There were people marching outside Parliament saying, hold a special session of parliament, guaranteed MSP and procurement, Swaminathan Commission report lagu karo. That was the demand. If every farmer in this country knows 2 words of Angrezi, it was Swaminathan report. They all asked for that. It's not farmers from Punjab and Haryana alone. They all asked for Swaminathan report. Now what happened to that report? First 5 reports, it is actually known as the National Commission for Farmers, chaired by the most distinguished agro-scientist we have, Dr. Swaminathan, and therefore called Swaminathan report. First report was submitted in December 2004. The last of the 5 reports, volume 2 of the last report, submitted in October 2006. 16 years have passed. 2 governments colluded who are otherwise at loggerheads, UPA, NDA, both of them colluded to kill the commission, Swaminathan Commission report. UPA was in power for 10 years, NDA for the next 7 years. For 16 years, they blocked even a discussion. There were MPs in Parliament who demanded a special discussion, a several days discussion. Nation for Farmers has for years demanded a special session of Parliament. They did not dedicate 1 day or 1 hour for special discussion of the Swaminathan report. Though the demands of that report were extremely popular with the farmers. Now 16 years have passed. Many other things have happened. Many things not necessarily covered in the Swaminathan report. The problem of climate change is covered in the Swaminathan report, but has incredibly sharpened in the last 16 years. And its impact on agriculture is devastating. In the People's Archive of Rural India, I can tell you, we have done a special section on reporting climate change through the lived experience and voices of farmers, laborers, hunter-gatherers, honey collectors, the whole works. You will see how dangerous the position of our agriculture is in climate change, where the government of India and the state of India are moving against every civil society organization that mentions the word climate change. So, like that, there are other issues which have sharpened greatly. Corporate control over agriculture has sharpened greatly. It's time for a new commission. The Swaminathan Commission, government appointed commission, murdered by government. Then came the Supreme Court's Committee on Agriculture, which some of you might have read at that time in December 2020. My name was bandied about as a member by the then Chief Justice in open court, saying people like Sainath should be a member. I immediately issued a disclaimer to all of you. I do not wish to be party to death by committee. That was the sentence the Supreme Court was passing. When you want to kill something, create a committee like that. Official committee already, Swaminathan committee is dead. Supreme Court creates a committee to address the issues of farmers with all members who have declared themselves repeatedly in favor of the farm laws. And before the first meeting, 25% of the committee resigns. One member goes away. That report is now hanging, not hanging fire, it's hanging ice, it's on ice, right? It doesn't mean a thing. And the man who is a member who is asking for the report to be made public agrees that it has lost its relevance. But we have made some useful suggestions. So government commissions, Supreme Court committees, these are not going to deliver something for you, or for the farmer, or for the nation. We now believe, and today we are here, for nation farmers and all its collaborating, organizations, the networks on right to education, right to food, Jan Sarokar, many others, the public sector officers, organizations. We believe Nation for Farmers itself is a non-farmer forum. It's not a not even a Sangathan or a union. It's a non-farmers forum that came up with the Nashik March as thousands of Mumbaikars came and joined the Adivasi farmers in Azad Maidan, historic venue of the freedom struggle. Then, the idea is now farmers, government commission, when it goes against the government kills it. See, on farmers' suicides, in Maharashtra we had some 11 reports. Governments will have as many commissions as they need until they get the commission that gives them the report they want. That is how power functions. You know, I was on a government commission last year, which Freedom of Press Index Monitoring Committee, after I gave in a dissent note in February, the committee has disappeared. You can't trace it on RTI. The committee has disappeared. So let's now get someone we can trust to stand firm. Let the farmers, within their consent and within their control, let us form a Kisan Commission. Who better to talk to you about the problems of Indian agriculture than the farmer? So let's start the Kisan Commission. The Kisan Commission will be accountable to the public, to the farmers. You can't simply cut it or delete it, Control or delete from the website of the government. This is the idea of a Kisan Commission. Now, it's going to be a deliberative, consultative process ahead on representation, because it has to be widely representative of different sections, of regions, gender, all these representational issues must be there. And we are determined to do that democratically with the maximum amount of consultation, and always with the Kisan Andolan in overseeing the whole process. It is their commission. Of all farmers in the country, not just of one state or two or the camps or anything else. So the idea of the Kisan Commission is that it will have some of the most eminent people whose integrity will not be questioned, like the way the members of the Supreme Court committee was. And farmers simply said, we won't talk to these guys. Who are they? Farmers simply dismissed them. Here, the farmers will have the say in what the commission will be like, what it will look like, what will be the mandates of this commission. This process we are trying to start simply today. The idea is that it will produce a comprehensive report or reports on the state of Indian agriculture, on the status of the Indian farmer and farm laborer. Landless farmers are also farmers for us, and on Mahila, Dalit and Adivasi Kisans. This commission will produce that. It will also encourage the emergence of state level Kisan commissions, which will look at the issues in their states and report back here. It can have here, it's very open, very transparent. It is still in the process of formulation, but that's why we are not announcing names and things. That has to come with the democratic consultation. And with that, then we will have a really national debate, not amongst people representing different corporations, not amongst people representing two different political formations that agree with on the question of economics, but you can have hearings in every district in the country. People can take the initiative on what farmers are saying to you. That thing. And lastly, please know that it will also have to look at all those issues that Swaminathan Commission report look and update those. For instance, income generation, generating the income of farmers May I remind you all that we are 40 days away from Mr. Modi's deadline for doubling the income of farmers. And do you know what has happened to the income of farmers? The latest, the one NSS report they have allowed to be published, situational assessment report on farming in India, farming households in India, that report shows us, as compared to 7 years ago, the 2013 70th round NSS report, the income from the farmer has not doubled. Overall income, because farmer gets income from several sources, he gets cultivation, agricultural income, that is, he gets crop cultivation income, he gets wages income, wage labor income, he gets income from livestock. But the main thing in farming, the income from crop cultivation, Mr. Modi's report shows you, crop cultivation has seen an absolute decline in real income of the farmer. This was the income that was to have been doubled. The rise in income comes from livestock and even more from wage labor. Which means, by the way, that more and more farmers are joining the ranks of the agrarian underclass, and you're going to have competition between farmers and agricultural laborers for that available wage labor. So you've really seen an absolute decline in real income from crop cultivation for the farmer, and crop cultivation income as a share of total income of the farmer, that has also declined. Please understand this. That's why a new kind of commission, a Kisan Commission, which will tell you what the heck we are earning. They will talk for themselves. Not have the editorial writers of the Times and the Express. I have never seen such shameful journalism. When Mr. Modi has withdrawn, it's the only time I am seeing the editorials of the great newspapers show some irritation with Mr. Modi himself. It took that to do it, okay? It took that to do it. I also want to leave you with one number when we are talking about farmers' income. Please remember how they were dismissing the farmers here, rich farmers from Punjab and Haryana. The average annual income of a farming household of 5 people is about 8,300 rupees. Yeah, in Punjab it is 3 times that much. But please look at the per capita agricultural size household in Punjab is 5.4. Divided, you will get some 4,500 rupees. Please show me one job in the organized sector that pays less. Please show me one job in any other sector that pays less. You dismiss. And who writes this? Rich farmers demanding socialism for rich farmers. India's director on the IMF, who earns more in a day than 5 Punjab households do in a month. Yeah, these are the sort of people writing about rich farmers. Now the income thing, please look at that NSS report, 77th round. Crop cultivation income has actually declined. Your Kisan Commission's report will look at all these issues. At least the Kisan Commission, we envisage, has to look at the problems of climate change, which are already very sharply impacting on production, very sharply impacting on the farmer's security, very sharply affecting the soil, the whole panoply of agriculture. It will have to look at incomes. It will have to look at marketing, even as the devastation of the APMCs continues. So I'm going to stop there and tell you that we are announcing the launch of the process of a Kisan Commission. Thank you.